What's up, guys? It's your boy. Today, we have something absolutely huge. We're going to be ranking anime OPs. They are all from different series, minus one maybe small exception, but we'll get to that later. And you know what I feel like I deserve for that effort? A like and subscribe. You guessed it already. And then you can also click the notification bell if you're feeling extra crazy. But we're not going to waste too much time here because I've got a lot of OPs to review, and I think you guys will like the content. So let's get straight into it. Here we are. Here is the tier list itself. You see how many we have to go through. And we are going to start with what I think is an absolute classic, just if I'm being quite honest here. It's Veracity from Overlord. It's a classic. But here's the thing about classics. A lot of them are kind of hit or miss, I guess you could say, where it's like, it's got some good qualities. I like a lot of things about it, but they're not necessarily the greatest thing of all time. And you'll see this theme kind of repeat itself a couple times. It's still good, though. It's still solid. But I don't think it's like anything life-changing. So me personally, I'm gonna go with B tier. Evangelion is an absolute classic show, and I was kind of thinking, I was leaning towards A tier because I was like, I don't know if the song holds up. Am I wearing kind of rose-tinted glasses? I wanted to really give this a fair look, and I didn't want to just give it S because I really like it, and it's really good, right? However, the visuals are stunning. It was made over 20 years ago, still holds up beautifully. S tier. S tier, and I think it's fairly easy. Once you hear it, it doesn't get old. It doesn't. Jujutsu Kaisen's opening. It's got two openings, and maybe controversial here. I like the second opening slightly more than the first. I don't think it's S tier. I simply don't. I think it's really well animated. I like the music, and the animation is just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm going to go A tier. I just don't think it's perfect enough. Steins Gate is a show you should watch. It's a great show. The characters are great. The plot is really, really interesting. The opening is just... I don't want to do S tiers too early, but it just encompasses the show really, really well. And so I'm gonna do that. I think One Piece is just a little too much for me. Not a bad series, though. Not one that I'm willing to invest my time into, my precious time. But it's not bad. It's good. I love how they redid it, but I'd say anything more than B would be overdoing it. The show is Toradora. The song is a banger. The animation is a little outdated, and I think we're building a good rapport with that B tier there. So let's add another. What do you guys say? I've not seen this one. This is the first one from the list I've not ever seen before. We just did Kaguya-sama Loves War, the first OP for it. Visually, I think that's the best one we've watched so far. It's just very colorful. It's very nice. Intro. The song does not impress me. And the reason it doesn't is because I've actually seen the second opening, Daddy Daddy Do. There's like a balance that needs to be struck, right? And this was all visuals, not music. I think I'm going to put it as the first C tier. The Nagatoro intro has an absolute banger of a song. I could listen to that song over and over and over again and not get tired of it. And in fact, I have. The visuals are stunning. They're a little all over the place. You could definitely make the argument that you don't like the visuals because they're a little all over the place, but it fits the energy of the show. If you've seen the show, it makes total sense that they use all those colors. I love this intro. Some people might think I'm overdoing it, but I just think it fits what it's doing perfectly, so I'm going to go A tier. Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop. I've never seen it. Never seen the show. Probably should. S tier. It's kind of like Evangelion. I was going to try not to look at it through kind of rose-tinted glasses like a lot of people do, but it's just, there's a reason it has the reputation it does. All right, Hunter x Hunter. Departure. It's classic, right? Everybody loves Departure. I think it's a little overrated. Again, though, I don't think we've come across a real stinker yet. I'll give it B. I'm going to be honest. There's something about it aesthetically I'm not a huge fan of. Song's kind of bland. If you want something with this kind of style and you want a better song and a cooler vibe, go watch the Mirai Nikki opening. C tier, leaning towards D tier. It's just kind of generic. So No Game No Life, before it, I think it got taken down at least for a brief period. I don't know if it's still taken down. But the intro for No Game No Life, the full song, was like the most viewed anime opening song on all of YouTube. And it's because it's a great song. That is the reason. What about the visuals? This has a great song, and it has absolutely stellar visuals. It's a modern classic of an OP, and it deserves nothing less than S tier. Is The Order a Rabbit? That's the name of the show. I can already tell the kind of show that it is. Definitely like a cute girls doing cute things show, a K-On!, something like that. Judging by the opening alone, though, I probably wouldn't watch this one. I'm just saying, it's not one that strikes me as interesting. It's not one that catches my attention. And for that reason alone, it sounds like I'm doing a Shark Tank pitch right now. I think we're gonna put it in D tier. It's not awful, but is it really worth watching? Not based on the opening. Okay, we're gonna introduce this show instead of on the tier list. We're gonna introduce it right here. It's Yaboy Kongming, or Papari Kome, which, if this screenshot enough, like, doesn't tell you enough, this show's gotta be wild, right? People were saying it's kind of going downhill, but a show can go downhill and the OP still absolutely slap. I really like it. I think we're gonna put it A tier. I think that's pretty fair for Yaboy Kongming or Papari Kome. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. I did a video on this show. If you haven't seen it and you've seen the show, go watch that video because it's excellent. It's great. It is a strong case of where an ED is much, much better. And I think our B tier is probably going to be our biggest tier, and we're going to add to it with Bunny Girl Senpai. The Peggies, who do the theme song for this, their songs kind of sound the same to me. Not bad, but kind of repetitive. Rent a Girlfriend, despite the title, decent show. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of in that same tier as Bunny Girl Senpai, same artist. There's nothing there to push it into A tier, because it still has that Peggy's feel with the song. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I don't think it's needed, but we'll put it in B tier. Love Live Sunshine opening. If you've seen that opening, you've seen the opening to every single Idol show that ever exists. That's the only one you need to watch, because they're all the same. I tend to like idols to an extent. I watched one Idol show, though, and I gotta say it's the worst anime I've ever watched. It's an Idol opening, and there's nothing special about it. It's like, the 3D visuals were a little bit, they threw me off a little bit. I think we'll go with C tier, because it's just generic Idol stuff. Black Clover, there's a lot of openings. We chose specifically for this one the 10th opening. I liked that a lot, actually. I can already tell I would like the art style for this, the coloring, the way that it works. It's probably around the same vicinity as Veracity. I think I'll put it in B tier just because I think I would get sick of the song. Today I watched the Agame ga Kill intro for the first time. I don't want to watch the show now, because that was a great intro. I think if you're looking at, because I think it does right what Death Note does wrong. The song's a lot better. The visuals are just there. They did that thing that Overlord does with like the color coding with Veracity. I don't think it's a classic. I don't think it's a must put in that S tier. I think that it's a little too far down for that. And so I think we'll put Agame ga Kill, I believe it's this first one here, in A tier. And I think it's a deserved A tier. So we just went through Rising of the Shield Hero, the second opening for that show, and I could pick any Bleach opening, and it'd probably be better than that. It's generic, and more so, I think, than the generic ones we've had so far. I'm willing to put that one in D tier. Oh boy, Fairy Tail. I really enjoy Fairy Tail. I don't get why it gets a lot of hate, A lot of people say it's just this like awful shonen. However, we listened to the 4th Fairy Tail opening. Every single Fairy Tail opening is better than the 4th opening. The 4th opening is not good. Sense of Wonder is my personal favorite. It's great. Snow Fairy, it's great. What's the 5th one? It's Maho no something. It's like, it's great. Fiesta, the 6th one, it's great. This one just, it completely flops for me. I'm sorry, RPG has to go. It's the first F tier. Chobits, which what a title, Chobits. I will say this, the song was pretty solid. The visuals are outdated. There's a difference between outdated and bad. Whereas I probably back in the time it came out would have given it an A tier. I'm gonna take it down to B, just because visually it's just not quite there with some of these other ones. Initial D, 5th stage, the opening for that, I really enjoyed that. The only thing that I think kept it from being excellent, there was nothing else but the cars. And cars are cool, but for a full minute and a half, that's what's gonna keep it from being an S tier, because otherwise that was just a lot of fun to watch. Assassination Classroom, first OP, it was weird. I'm not gonna lie, that OP was just weird. Some parts are good and some parts are bad. And I think it balances out to a C. Blend S, baby. Blend S. Not only am I including this because it is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's such a simple show, but it's amazing. PewDiePie and the Anime Man, two very distinct members of the YouTube community, collectively gave this either a C or a D tier. I want to say it was a D tier. And that made me very angry. I do not like that. It's so catchy. It had cultural status because it was so catchy, and the show is amazing. And so that is why today, this May 24th, 2022, S tier, Blend S. Easy dubs. Easy dubs. There's no other place to put it. Simple as that. I don't care what you think. Blend S, S tier. Konosuba. Was it God's blessing on this beautiful world, wonderful world, something like that? I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I think I'm fairly certain of where this one sits. It's all around good. Nothing about it particularly stands out as great. B tier. Simple as that. Here it is, right here. You can see it in the recommended after watching the opening for Kill Me Baby. The reason why it's here is because they're the ones who brought everybody to this opening. Otherwise, nobody would know it exists. Why? Because it's absolutely garbage. This anime intro, Kill Me Baby, is so bad. Kill Me Baby is so annoying. It's ear grating. I would rather take a cheese grater to my ears than listen to it more than once. Because of that, I feel that it is pertinent to bring up that PewDiePie and the Anime Man put that one above Blend S because it was different and it was quirky. Like, there's no debate here. I'm putting it F tier.
Yeah, I'll say that, but I feel this opening was like purposefully trying to be annoying.
And it might be. Hold up. It might be. It very well might be not generic. It might be original. But, like, come on. It's still bad. At the end of the day, even if it's trying to be annoying and it's trying to be bad, it, at the end of the day, is still bad. F tier, F tier, F tier. I'm sorry, PewDiePie. I'm sorry, Joey, Mr. Anime Man. All right, Horimiya. This one's hard. All right? Because the song's great. Cloverworks did this show, right? Cloverworks being the same studio that did Bunny Girl Senpai. And if you'll notice, in both Bunny Girl Senpai and in Horimiya, it uses those boxes where they, like, show the different characters and stuff. There's a temptation in me to put this in S tier. But is there something special about it? Is there that thing that brings it up into that S category? No. No, there's not. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, the second opening for that in particular is the one that we watched to represent that show. This is a little too generic anime for me to put it justifiably in A tier. Definitely got that feel that like Hunter x Hunter has as well with the song and some of these other ones. So I think it's fair to put it in B tier. It's up there. I'm gonna put a B. It's Pokemon has been put in our culture so prevalently that we forget that it's an anime sometimes. And I just wanted to point out for a minute, Pokemon has a Japanese intro, and it's different. And nobody talks about the Japanese opening, might I add, for Pocket Monsters, Pokemon. And it's great, and more people should talk about it. In fact, I might link it in the description if I remember to. But regardless of which version you're listening to, I'm sure children had the same level of memorization of the opening because it's just so good. Like, come on! This brings people together! It's iconic! S tier. S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier. The first opening to Your Lie in April, Hikaru Nara. It is beautiful. It is a piece of art. The show is a piece of art, and I recommend the show to anybody. I recommend the opening to anybody because it is just, it's a work of art. And it has personally affected me in a lot of ways as somebody who kind of grew up in music, and I'm not trying to say this in a boastful way, but I'm a creative person. I like to create things, right? And if you know what it's like to be in a rut, then you'll relate to this character in some way. If you enjoy romance, you will relate to these characters in some way. It is a show that I cannot recommend enough. And the opening is absolutely beautiful and timeless. And because of that, it's S tier, and I'm not even going to argue. Mob Psycho 100, the opening for that reminds me why I'm so excited for Chainsaw Man, because they give me similar vibes in terms of visuals. I can tell there's a lot of different influences here, and I like all of them. I think they're well done. The visuals were great. This is probably one of my favorites in terms of visuals that I've seen. Song was a little off at times, though. It's nearly perfect, but nearly perfect isn't enough to justify an S tier. So Misfit of Demon King Academy. We're going to go back to the contrast between the song and the visuals. The song was very generic. A very generic song. The visuals carried hard. And I'm going to say B tier. Next in the Demon lineup, we have Welcome to Demon School, OP at number 1. There's nothing wrong with it, and because there's nothing wrong with it, I'm going to put it in C tier. And it just kind of exists. It's there. Naruto Shippuden, OP number 3, Bluebird. Is it outdated? Yes. However, I can see why somebody who grew up with Naruto would love this opening, and it kind of makes me feel nostalgic, and I've never seen it, right? Is it S tier? I don't think so. It's a little too shonen-y for me. However, it's pretty darn good, and I can see why people enjoy it, so I'm going to put it in A tier. ReZero, the first opening. Like, if I would see this, and somebody would say, watch it based on that alone, I'd say maybe. That's what I would tell you. And that also tells me that this is part of the ever-growing B tier of anime openings. So we just watched the Sword Art Online second opening, and I feel like it's one that I've seen 15 times now. I don't know if it's kind of fatigue from watching this many intros in a row, or if it's because it's legitimately generic, as I think it is, but I'm kind of torn between B and C tier because of that. It's actually having a hard time. Either you love Sword Art Online or you cannot stand Sword Art Online, and I don't understand why that is, why people are so kind of torn up about SAO, but they are. Whatever. But based on that opening, I'm just like, as I said, I feel like I've seen it 15 times because it's just kind of its own little thing there. But I will say this, it is part of A1 Pictures lineup. I do really like A1. So I'll definitely have to check it out based on that alone. For Haikyuu, because Haikyuu's been around a while, we watched the fourth OP in particular. I have a total of 0 desire to ever watch a sports anime. I do not care for them. Because of that, I'm also watching the visuals and hearing the song as like trying to get me to watch the show, and I'm still not convinced. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I've heard good things about it, but we're gonna talk about Mushoku Tensei for a minute here. Jobless Reincarnation. So here's the thing. I was kind of waiting for the the beat drop, right? Like when's like the action part gonna come in, and it never did. That was almost touching in a way, and I can't explain how. It's like emotionally moving. There's something about kind of the peaceful vibe that it has that I really like. I'm putting that in A tier. It's unique in a good way, unlike Kill Me Baby, which is unique in a I want to tear my ears out kind of way. So, Blue Exorcist, first opening. Here's exactly the vibe I got from it. I don't need to spend too much time explaining this. It's Jujutsu Kaisen. If the song wasn't quite as good, if the visuals weren't quite as good, and it just felt generally not quite as good as Jujutsu Kaisen, who did everything better. So I'm going to put this one in B tier. Blue Exorcist, OP1. This one's going to be one that comes down to personal opinion. I'm just going to come out and say it straight. I don't really like the art style from My Hero Academia. Not that it's bad, but again, not my cup of tea. I think it's enough to warrant a B tier, even if it's not exactly my cup of tea. Fire Force, Opening 2. This is really gonna bring out my music taste. Visuals were really cool for that. I felt like the one sequence where they're going through the characters might have been a bit long, but if it has a big cast, I understand why they do it, so I'm not going to take points off for it necessarily. The song it slapped. I liked having an English one to end it off, too. It kind of rounded off things in a unique kind of way. I think we can end, and I think this is a good way to end with an A tier. Legitimate A tier here to end it off. Is if you look at the bottom list here, you'll notice there's a theme. If you can see it, hopefully you can see it. They're all JoJo openings. And I was thinking about just rolling through them one by one all tonight and getting it as an addition to this wonderful tier list, but no. They're JoJo's openings. They deserve their own video, and we're going to save them for a video later. So that said, we have gone over, let's see, 44 anime openings today. This is your list. There you go. It's only taken us 2.5 hours to rank